Hello, everyone. I want to talk to you guys about Israel and really the possible future for Israel's democracy. For decades, Israel has been touted as the only democracy in the Middle East, and people in Washington will argue that this is one of the main reasons why we must support Israel, because Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, and if you dare question Israel, then my God, you are just an evil anti-Semite. You're a Nazi. You hate America. You hate democracy. And most of all, you hate our freedoms. That's right. You hate our freedoms and you hate the American way of life. Well, what is happening in Israel? What is happening to Israel's democracy? It's very, very interesting to see. You have all these, and I'm shocked. I'm so shocked that more Christians are not talking about this. I'm just shocked. Actually, I don't see, to be perfectly frank with you guys, I don't see any Christians talking about this subject. How you have crazy, far-right Jewish extremists, the types of Jews who put Jesus on a cross, in the Knesset, in the Israeli parliament, and they are trying to diminish the power of the Supreme Court. Now, why do they want to diminish the power of the Supreme Court? Because every single time these modern-day Sanhedrin Pharisees try to push anything that would encroach on the religious rights of people who are not Jewish, the Supreme Court steps in. Oh, you don't want to allow people to enter a hospital because they have food that's not halakhic? And halakhic just means that it's in accordance to Jewish law. Oh, you don't want to allow people to enter a hospital because they want to bring food to a patient and the food is not kosher? Well, we can't allow that because that is encroaching on people's religious liberty. So the Supreme Court has been very, very active in stopping people from imposing kosher, Talmudic, halakhic law in Israel. And these fanatics, these Sanhedrin, Pharisaical lunatics, they want to diminish the Supreme Court for this very reason. Because they want to establish a theocracy. They have this fantasy of bringing back the Davidic kingdom, and they want to impose Talmudic law. They want to purge Israel of non-Jewish ideas. They want to purge Israel of all the religions that are not Jewish. So Christianity, they want to get rid of Christianity. They do. They want to remove Christianity. They want to get rid of the churches because according to them, Christianity is a idolatrous religion and they want to remove it. And so they hate Christianity and they say, well, Christians worship Jesus Christ. That is the worship of a man. That is idolatry. So therefore, we have to get rid of Christianity. And they are people in Israel who talk about how they want to destroy churches. Yes, they want to destroy churches. So we talked about the Syrian revolution over 10 years ago, and we talked about how the rebels in Syria wanted to destroy Christianity, or they wanted to definitely persecute Christians in Syria. Well, you have these fanatics in Israel who are just like these lunatics in Syria. They want to do the same damn thing. The only difference between the lunatics in Israel and the lunatics in Syria is that the lunatics in Israel want to use the law to advance their agenda. The rebels in Syria, they just took out guns and they said, we have to overthrow Bashar al-Assad and we want to establish Sharia law, so let's do a violent revolution. And that violent revolution was backed by NATO and backed by the CIA. In Israel, they're saying, hey, we already have the backing of America, and a lot of Americans revere Israel, and they practically worship us, but we hate Christians because we see them as just idolaters, and we want to get rid of Christianity in Israel. But we just can't take out guns and do it because that would make Israel look bad, and that would get Israel to lose its international support even more, so we can't do that. So let's just use the law. Let's diminish the Supreme Court. We'll pack the Knesset with our politicians, and then our politicians will establish our Talmudic aspirations. And this is their plan. This is their goal. This is what these people want to do. And so the idea of Israel being the only democracy in the Middle East, I think this idea is going down. I think it's declining, and I think it's going to continue to decline over the years. And I think as the years go by, it's going to become more and more obvious that Israel is going to implode on itself. You have so much political division in that country. It's amazing. The country is in the middle of a war after the greatest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust took place. And you have Jews in Israel fighting each other over political differences. You would think at such a time the country would be extremely united. They would be together. They would be lighting menorahs together. They would be dribbling dreidels on the streets. But no, a lot of Israelis hate each other. And a couple of days ago, I saw this video of a demonstration taking place in Israel, and there were literally people in the crowd saying, "Save the children in Gaza." You would think everybody in Israel would be saying, "No, to hell with Gaza, to hell with those Gazans, blah, blah, blah." The country is so divided. It is surreal to see this. It is so surreal to see this. And what else is happening in Israel? What else is happening in Israel is that the Arab population is right now the second fastest growing population, the second fastest growing population in Israel. The fastest growing population in Israel is the Orthodox Jews. But the population, the demographic in Israel that has the second highest birth rate is the Israeli Arabs. And they right now make up about 21% of Israel's population. 21% of Israel's population is Arab. And those Arabs are disliked by a lot of these fanatics, these Jewish fanatics. They want to establish a Jewish state. They want to establish, and by Jewish, because Israel is already a Jewish state, but Israel right now is really just an ethnically Jewish state. It's a Jewish ethno-state. It's not a religious Jewish state, because a lot of Israelis are still secular. A lot of Israelis still want Israel to remain a secular country, but you have this extremely fast-growing population that wants to have Israel as a theocracy, as a halakhic, Talmudic utopia. How can you have your religiously Jewish halakhic state when such a substantial part of your population is Arab and not Jewish, but Christian and Muslim? Because a lot of the Arabs in Israel are actually Christian. And what happens when the Arab population becomes so big that it becomes a major voting bloc that would impede your Jewish aspirations for Israel's society? What happens? Do you keep democracy? Do you maintain your democracy? The fanatics are going to want to destroy democracy even more at that point. And so at such a point, if Israel is still a democracy at such a point, the war against democracy would be even more intense at such a point. At such a point, the war against Israel's democracy will be extremely intense. And what's going to happen? Would we still tout Israel as the only democracy in the Middle East? And is America going to continue to side with Israel, even if Israel becomes a Pharisaical despotism? That's the question. That is the question. It's quite surreal, guys. Did you guys actually see what happened with Israel recently? The International Criminal Court just stated that it is seeking a warrant for Netanyahu's arrest. The chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, his name is Karim Khan, stated that he is seeking a warrant for Netanyahu's arrest on the charges of deliberately killing civilians, deliberately exterminating civilians, and he actually uses the word extermination or exterminating, and also on the charge of deliberately starving civilians. Could you imagine seeing Netanyahu getting arrested? And I don't want to get too much into this because the International Criminal Court has not succeeded right now. So far, the ICC has not gotten the warrant, at least not yet. We have yet to see. We have yet to see. I'll just leave it at that. But if the warrant is actually issued, that would mean that in the countries that are party to the Rome Statute, Netanyahu could actually be arrested. Would that happen? Who knows? It would be very surreal to see that happen, but who knows if it's going to happen. The fact is that the ICC has never done this. The ICC has never actually sought for a warrant to arrest the political leader of a country that is so close to the United States, especially a country as close to America as Israel is. But it's just quite amazing. It's quite amazing to see the world turn against Israel. And I come from a time when Israel was just revered. I mean, Israel was absolutely revered in the 1990s and in the early 2000s. I mean, just so revered, right? Everyone was told about the Holocaust. We were always told about the Holocaust, and we were always told about how Israel was formed to prevent another Holocaust. Israel was formed so that another Holocaust could never happen again. And now you're seeing more and more people just saying, I don't give a damn about the Holocaust. And interest or concern about the Holocaust is declining tremendously. As I've said before, Holocaust denial is increasing at very scary rates. In fact, this sort of phenomena has been going on for years. You can go to Germany. In 2015, they did a study. The German Bertelsmann Foundation did a survey on views on Israel and the Holocaust in Germany. And what the study found was that 48% held a negative view of Israel. 48% of the Germans who were polled held a negative view of Israel. And this was back in 2015. And this was the country that organized and orchestrated the biggest genocide of Jews in the history of Jews. And these people don't give a damn about the Holocaust as much as they used to. Or maybe they never did. Maybe that was all just for show. Or maybe a lot of it was for show. But the fact is that care for the Holocaust in the country that orchestrated the Holocaust is dying out and has been dying out tremendously. That is quite surreal. And what the study also found out was that a majority of those in the age group of 18 to 29 also did not care about Israel, did not care for Israel, did not like Israel. 55% of respondents agreed with this particular statement. Quote, today, almost 70 years after the end of the war, we should no longer talk so much about the persecution of the Jews, but should finally draw a line under the past. In other words, we don't give a damn about the Holocaust. Stop talking about it. We don't care. And this is the country that orchestrated the Holocaust. This is the country that elected Adolf Hitler. And they're saying, we don't give a damn about the Holocaust. So what happens when the first world just stops caring about the Holocaust? What happens? How is Israel going to rely on receiving international support when more and more people in the first world don't care about the Holocaust or about Israel? It's very, very interesting. And it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 15 years, 10 to 15 years. What's going to happen? And if Israel continues down this road of fanaticism and of pursuing really a theocracy, pursuing this agenda against Israel's Supreme Court with the intention, with the motivation of establishing a theocracy, well, is America going to continue to support Israel? And if Israel becomes this bastion of Jewish fanaticism, where Christians are persecuted, where people are persecuted because they're Arab, or where democracy will be warred upon because they don't want Arabs to vote, because in the future the Arabs are going to be a much bigger population than they are already in Israel. Is America going to continue to be behind Israel? What happened when Iran attacked Israel? Iran tried to strike Israel with 300 missiles and drones. And they say, well, Israel intercepted most of those attempted strikes. Well, is that really true? Is that really true? Did Israel intercept most of those strikes? Because what I read was that the United States intercepted at least a substantial amount of those strikes. And the French helped the Israelis, and the British helped the Israelis, and the Arabs, the Saudis, helped the Israelis. So where is Israel going to be without American support? Because everyone talks about the Iron Dome, but Israel's Iron Dome needed the help of the United States. So where is Israel without America? Israel would be in extremely deep trouble without the United States. And as anti-Israel sentiment increases, is Israel going to continue to have America's support? And is America going to continue to have Israel's back? Or is it going to be that Israel will become this bastion of Jewish fanaticism and America will just wash its hands of Israel? That's the question that I have. And we have yet to see. We have yet to see. But from what I'm seeing right now in the Western world, it doesn't look too good for Israel. What I do know is that once the world stops caring about the Holocaust, it'll be a world where another Holocaust is entirely possible. That's my opinion. Anyway, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.